I am joined by Grant Walsh, who will be giving us an insight into the music industry. To start off with, could you just tell us a bit about what you play and how you got into music?
Yeah, I play piano, keyboards and guitar, and on this current show that I'm on, actually a bit of banjo, which is fun. And how I got into the music industry was, well, I studied for 4 years at the Conservatoire in Glasgow, which was actually at the time a course that was split between the Conservatoire and Glasgow University. So I would do education for a day a week at Glasgow Uni, and then music for the rest of the time at the Conservatoire. And then I basically came out at the end with an education degree. So then I taught music for a year in Scotland, and then after that I started working as a freelance musician, and it was kind of musical theatre that I was aiming to go into from the beginning. And then I worked for about a year on various different shows, kind of smaller, shorter contracts, and then got a job on Singin In The Rain tour. And then COVID happened, so that obviously stopped everything for a bit, and now we're just coming to kind of the middle of that job at the minute. So yeah, it's still kind of early days in my career, but yeah, so it's generally been theatre work that I've done so far.
How important do you think it is that music is taught properly in the schools?
Well, yeah, there isn't really a value on it, is there? Like without music in schools, primary schools, secondary schools, anything like that, then you won't have conservatoires or the jobs that we do at the minute, you know. So yeah, and especially for me, having studied education and worked for a year as a teacher as well as now working as a musician, I see firsthand how beneficial it is. Also because when I was at school, music was a part of school, which was great, but then I had a lot of music outside school, which was probably more what got me into the career that I'm in now. But some people can't afford private tuition, or don't have access to it, or it doesn't happen where they live, or something like that. So everyone has got access to school. So if it happens in primary school or secondary school or even nursery or anything like that, then that's perfect, because you don't have to pay for it, and it's there, and it's just sometimes exposure that you need. It doesn't always need to be one-to-one music tuition. Sometimes just being exposed to music from a young age is all that you need to catch the bug, if you like.
So what's it like doing the same show every day?
Well, at the minute we're on a UK tour, so we move every week, so that adds a bit of variety to the show, and especially within these couple of years of COVID, obviously illness and people going off and not being allowed to come into the building is more prevalent than it would have been before, so therefore our cast change a lot of the time, our band change a lot of the time, so that also keeps us on our toes. But yeah, some days you're maybe tired, you've been doing it for a few days on the trot, and but if you love the music and you like the show and stuff, that'll get you through the tired days. And this show's great, you know, the music's great, the score's great, there's not a lot of time of sitting about, you know, we're always playing, which is what you want. And luckily some days during the week I get to go and watch the show, so that's also nice to break the week up.
What's your favourite thing about touring?
I suppose it would have to be seeing cities in the UK or abroad that you wouldn't necessarily see if you weren't to tour. You know, there's probably some cities that we've visited so far that if you don't have friends or family, or you wouldn't maybe, or I wouldn't have gone to them, and then you discover some nice places in the country that you live. We've been abroad with the show, but you know, for instance, we started the tour in Canterbury, which is a place that I probably would have never thought about venturing to, obviously because I live in Scotland as well. That's so far away that I probably would never have thought of going, but actually it's a lovely place, so that would probably be my favourite part of touring.
And what's your least favourite thing about touring?
We move every week, so we're not in each place for very long, so the packing up and trying to condense your life into a suitcase is probably my least favourite part, but at the minute it doesn't bother me too much.
So do you have any goals or specific shows that you would like to do?
I've got some shows that that I love, that I suppose I would like to do in the future. I love the show chess. That would be cool. But personality-wise, I'm quite laid back, so I try not to think too much about it. But yeah, probably if I thought about it enough, I would have some goals. But if I can keep making a living as a musician, then that will satisfy me.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to anyone who's like thinking of starting to play an instrument?
Good question. Well, when I started to learn piano, which wasn't particularly young, I think I was about 11 or something, so wasn't really early. Then the thing that made me want to play the piano a lot was the type of piano playing that I like to listen to. So if you can get hooked on a type of music that you like listening to, or a player that you really like, that definitely helped me become slightly obsessed with the piano or the guitar or that kind of thing. So yeah, if you're starting to learn, then I suppose if you can find players that you like listening to, whether they're famous players or they're just people you know, that would help me.
And I think people often think like, oh, if you don't start at a young age, you can't really get into music, but that's not true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of friends that started their instruments when they were 4, whereas I started playing guitar when I was quite young, about 7 or 8. But then it was later on that piano came, and then piano has been what has got me most of my work, or what most of my work is on. So I don't think you need to start young always, and lots of people come to it in different ways. And I quite like bumping into people on the work that I do that actually maybe they didn't find music until they were in their 20s or their 30s, and then they swapped career. That's quite fun as well. It works out differently for everyone, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any advice for people wanting to get into the industry?
The way that it worked for me was that while I was at school and university, I had a friend who's about 10 years older than me, who was already a guitarist in kind of touring shows, West End type stuff, and he put me in touch with one random person who let me sit in at the pit, just sit next to them in the pit when they toured through Glasgow. And I met that person, sat with them, saw the show from their perspective, and kept in touch and just saved their number on my phone. And then another show would come around, and maybe I'd either ask my friend or this new person that I'd met if they knew anyone, and they would often be, happy to help if they could. And then I would just sit in on as many as I could, and then before I knew it, I had all these phone numbers in my phone. And the more I suppose you call that networking, but it's just being friendly and getting to know people. And they would often say, what do you want to do? And I'd say, well, I'm at uni just now, but in a few years' time I'd quite like to get some work playing, and they can remember you. And because I played piano and guitar, there was a couple of shows coming around that was required for, and there's not as many people that do that, so they maybe remember you that way. Or because I lived in Scotland, if they needed someone in Scotland, they might think of me that way. So I suppose the advice part would be meet as many people as you can, and try and make yourself known to as many people as you can, and just be friendly and let them know that you're around and available and eager, if you like.
Thank you very much for that, and thank you for watching.
No problem at all, thank you.
Singing in the Rain company, this is your half hour call, we have 30 minutes. This is your half hour call, we have 30 minutes. Thank you.